You touched on a couple of things, and for our listeners who are on HOA boards or have run into HOAs, we'll say from time to time, I think their ears started percolating with some of those dates you threw out. That's been a big topic in North Carolina in the past few years. I don't want to dive too much into the Marketable Title Act or into the statutes that have come about as it relates to improper formation of condos. Do you think where we sit at, though, statutorily, are we living in a perfect world of HOAs now based on what's written at the legislative level, or are there still big pitfalls that you believe should be addressed?
Well, there's always going to be updates that are needed, Justin. Like only within the last 2 years did the General Assembly pass statutes that would let membership meetings be more often virtual, electronic voting. And that's because 5 years ago, who would have thought we would need something like that? So I will say the General Assembly has done a very good job of when they feel they need to go in and amend the Planned Community Act or the Condominium Act, they do. In fact, we frequently say in our practice area that in almost no other area of law that I can think of do there tend to be quite so many proposed bills and statutes adopted every couple of years that deal with HOAs and condos, but that's because the General Assembly is trying to take into account the world has changed. Some states have adopted completely new planned community acts or condominium acts, but as an attorney, think of just how gigantic an undertaking that would be in a state where you already have all of these entities that exist under the prior documents, and it would just be a nightmare. So instead, I will compliment the General Assembly members to say I think they've done a pretty good job of revisiting. Even this past year, as you know, they addressed the Marketable Title Act concerns that were out there. I think it's best we not go into detail on that, or you would lose your entire membership, your viewership in one session probably, because as you know, that's pretty deep stuff when you get into the Marketable Title Act. But they also dealt with things about which statutes should be retroactive. There have been cases this year dealing with everything from solar panels to the Marketable Title Act, older condominiums and how they should be treated. So between the courts and the General Assembly, I'd say North Carolina is doing a lot better than many states.